Hey guys everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Legacy Velocitron Speedia 500 Collection Deluxe Class Road Rocket. Before we take a look at the figure, let's take a look at the packaging. So of course, up front here we have a nice artwork of Road Rocket in the robot mode, of course with the two blades on the arms looking very, very cool. We do have the G2 Universe Road Rocket, we have the Legacy logo, we have Transformers, of course the Velocitron Speedia 500 text. Up here we do have a product shot of the motorcycle mode and an artwork shot of the motorcycle mode. And on this side, of course, another artwork of the robot mode looking very, very cool. And on the back, transforms in 21 steps, of course a picture of the robot and alt mode, and that's pretty much it for the packaging. Let's now get into the review. Road Rocket in the really cool looking motorcycle mode. Let's take a look at the details, starting at the very front. Some nice black for the mirrors, also the handlebars and the brake. Some nice blue for this windscreen, also the headlights. Getting to the tire here, of course some nice black for this piston, also the tire itself, some nice red, silver, and gunmetal gray for the inner part. Of course, some nice red, some more black there. Of course, lots of mechanical detailing. Yes, there is a little bit of kibble because, of course, it is a motorcycle, so there has to be some compromises. But, of course, there is also a kickstand, which is actually useful, very useful for standing it up. Unfortunately, they actually recently did make an Iguanas core class figure, which did transform into a motorcycle, but no kickstand. So you, of course, had to balance it the entire time it was in the alt mode. So I'm really glad this included one. And as for the back tire, pretty much the exact same detail, except on the side there is actually an exhaust pipe. And if you wanted to, you could actually plug a blaster piece in there and have it blasting off and doing like a wheelie or something crazy. That looked pretty cool. And up here, of course, some nice blue and red, and overall looks quite nice for a motorcycle mode. Yes, of course, a lot of people did complain in Legacy Wave 1 about the RC figure. No, it wasn't the greatest figure, but I actually really did like the motorcycle mode for that figure and this one. I think they did a really good job with it. Let's now get into, of course, accessories. So it does come with the exact same one that came with RC, the blade/shield. So in this mode, there really is no purpose for the shield, so I would split it in half, and you can actually store them at the wheels here on both sides. And I use it as sort of like the figure is slicing the tires of the Decepticons so they cannot chase after Road Rocket, which is a pretty cool little backstory to that, I think. And I typically store them up top, actually, but if you want to, you can store them at the tires. So you just plug these up here, just take the one from the other side, just store this one up here as well, and there we have the accessories up top, which is typically where I keep them. And if you want to, you can actually move up the kickstand, and it actually rolls very, very well, and of course it'd be very hard to balance. So again, that kickstand is actually very, very useful for this figure in the alt mode. Let's now get in one quick motorcycle comparison. Here we have Road Rocket with the Legacy Wave 1 RC. As you can see, of course, sculpt-wise, they're the exact same thing, just, of course, a brand new deco for the motorcycle mode, and, of course, in the robot mode, there is a brand new head sculpt. Accessory-wise, the same, except they did do more of a sort of ninja-style deco to the blades. As you can see, there's sort of a star design on the blades, more of a ninja style. Of course, I'll show you again in closer detail of the accessory whenever it's in the robot mode. But overall, looking very, very cool. Between the two, I'd probably pick Road Rocket in this mode and the robot mode. Just my personal opinion on, of course, the deco that I prefer. Of course, that's just my opinion. Let me know between these two figures, so which one do you like more in the comment section down below. But overall, looks very cool. Let's get a side angle here of the motorcycles, which do look pretty cool next to each other. And overall looks very, very nice. I think that's pretty much it for the motorcycle mode. Let's now get into transformation into the robot mode. I get a transformation into the robot mode. So the way I typically do is actually remove the wheel just to get some added clearance. You don't actually have to, but that's what I typically do. You can flip these panels forward, and how this was tabbed is there is a slot and a slot and a tab and a tab. Do the same thing on the other side, just like that. And then what you can do is move the kickstand, make sure that it's up like this. Then what you're going to want to do is go to the arms here. You can split these in half. You can also split the wheel in half. Just get your thumb, just split that in half as well, and hinge these out. We can then go to the front here, and you can actually get the shoulder joints, and that will tab into the main body just like that. Then you can bring this whole forearm piece up, which will of course reveal the hand. Same thing on the other side. Tab that shoulder in, move the forearm piece up, and there we have the arms all done and complete. Now we can go to the legs. You can hinge this down like this, and then what you're going to do is fold in these wheel pieces like that, and then you can hinge the whole knee piece up like this. Do the same thing on the other side. Hinge that up like this, and then you can fold out the foot like this, which can be a little bit trouble. There we go. Fold out the foot, and then what you're going to do is get the whole torso piece and just rotate it around to the front section here. Just tab that in, bring up the crotch piece, and there we go. Then what you can do is rotate the whole motorcycle piece around, have this up, and then what you can do is, of course, the wheel piece can actually store in several different ways. It can be an accessory, and it can store on the back several different ways. We're going to start with this way right here. You just plug that in, and there we have that storage. Of course, if you want to, you can actually rotate this inward, but I typically actually keep it out for that form of storage. And there we have the transformation for Road Rocket. Let's now get into the details of the robot mode. We have Road Rocket in the really cool looking robot mode. Let's take a look at the details. Starting at the top with that head sculpt, some nice blue for the mouth guard and some blue for the eyes. What's actually really nice is the head does have light piping in the back. Unfortunately, I can't show you because I don't really have a light above, but if you got your phone light or any lamp, you would be able to tell whenever you get this figure in hand. Of course, some black for the main helmet section. Getting into the arms, nice blue and red and black for the hands. Getting into the chest, nice red for that symbol there, looking very cool. Some black for the stomach. Really well sculpted on the chest. And the crotch also done in red. I also really do like this nice metallic blue they use for the legs. Yes, unfortunately, the wheels are kind of sticky on the outside. I know a lot of people complain about that with the RC, or of course the original version of this mold. And no, it doesn't look the greatest. Also, unfortunately, she is very hard to stand sometimes, so I do apologize if she wobbles a little bit. But overall, detail-wise, looks super cool. And yes, the figure does have a bit of a backpack where you actually can store that accessory a different way, which I'm going to get into in just a second after articulation. So for articulation, the head can move, of course, all the way around, up and down. For the arm, it can move out, in, and all the way around. There is also a swivel at the shoulder, and of course at the forearm. There is also an elbow bend and hand rotation. Unfortunately, there is no waist rotation because the waist is actually tabbed in. If you did disconnect this piece, you could actually rotate it. Of course, that's really part of transformation, but if you really want to get in some crazy poses, you could. As with the leg, it can move that far out, that far in, and of course back. There's also a swivel, a knee bend, and of course an ankle pivot. And that's pretty much it for articulation and details. Let me just straighten the figure up a bit. Let's now get into the accessories. So this figure does come, of course, with the 2 blades, but also does come with a third accessory, this back wheel piece. You can store it this way, but you can also store it 2 separate ways. So it can act as an accessory. I'm not really sure what it's supposed to be, but you can also use it another way of storage on the back, which is where I typically store it. So what you're going to want to do is actually get the whole motorcycle piece, hinge this out, and there is a port back there near the head, and there is a peg right here, and you're going to store this right there. And that's typically where I store it. I think it looks the best, but that's just my opinion. And there you have the second option of storage for the wheel piece, which I think looks the best, in my opinion. It doesn't stick out as much. It actually looks kind of cool with the wheel pieces behind her head like that, which looks pretty cool. And then if you wanted to, of course, you could get the blades and store in the hands, or use the shield, which is pretty cool. But I will actually quickly show you the last way you can store the accessory. You can, of course, just hinge this down again, remove this from the back of the figure's head, and you can use it as a weapon. I'm not really sure what it's supposed to be. A lot of people were confused on that whenever the RC figure came out, but you can have the figure hold it. My guess is it's supposed to be like a disc launcher, maybe, or like some people have guessed it's like a drone or something. I don't really know. I don't really know. But I'm just going to store it like the second way, because I think that honestly looks the best, and I will bring out RC in just a sec for a comparison. That's actually how I have the wheel piece stored as well, so I want them to be the same. Now, of course, with the blades, you can have them separate or connected, so you can connect these together. And as for details, of course, transparent blue plastic. I also really do like this nice star. It's really supposed to be like a shuriken, or you could use it as a shield, so you can just plug this in the forearm area or the elbow, like that, use it as a shield, or you could use it as like a throwing star, which I think is pretty cool. Unfortunately, again, she is sometimes very hard to stand and keep sturdy, but overall that looks pretty cool. And if you want to, you can separate these pieces in half and store them as blades. And this was another critique of the RC figure. They did not resemble, of course, the classic silver blades from the Transformers Prime show. I don't really think they were supposed to. They were supposed to be more of a modernized look of them, so it never really bothered me. No, they're not the best blades, but they actually look pretty cool in the shield/shuriken mode. Now let's get in one quick mold comparison. Here is Road Rocket, of course, with RC. I think they look pretty cool next to each other. Between the two, probably my favorite would be Road Rocket. Just the old ninja vibe and look to it actually looks super cool. Yes, there is a few problems with the wheels and the legs. That doesn't look the greatest. Also, the backpack can be sometimes kind of big and annoying, and some pieces can fall off, but overall the look actually looks pretty cool. And of course, down to mold, the only thing different, and of course, is that head sculpt. That's the only change in sculpt. Everything else is the exact same. Same accessories. As you can see, of course, that accessory, the wheel accessory, can store the exact same way as well, which I think probably looks the best stored there. But that's pretty much it for this comparison. Let's now get into one last Legacy Velocitron comparison. Now for one last comparison here, we have all 5 deluxes of the Legacy Velocitron Speedia 500 collection line. Of course, there is 2 Voyagers and 1 Leader still to come, and of course, I'll have those reviews on the channel very, very soon. But of these 5 right here, yes, probably Road Rocket is my least favorite, but that is not saying it's a bad figure. Probably just, it's not as interesting as I would say Cosmos or Blur or any of the other figures. It is not a bad figure. Yes, there is several problems with it, but honestly, I'd still recommend to pick it up. It has a brand new head sculpt. I actually really do like the whole ninja vibe and feel to it. I think they did a pretty good job with that. And honestly, I think this figure or this character suits this mold more than RC. That is just my opinion. Of course, of these 5, which one is your favorite and which one is your least favorite? Let me know in the comments section down below. Let's now get into the final thoughts for the Transformers Legacy Road Rocket. Let's now get into the final thoughts for the Transformers Legacy Velocitron Speedia 500 Collection Deluxe Class Road Rocket. Of course, just a straight up repaint, redeco of the Legacy Wave 1 RC mold. And honestly, in my personal opinion, this character suits this mold better than RC did. I think they should have waited on the Transformers Prime RC character and just kind of course, just done it with a different mold and just done this one first, because I think this really suits this character, and just this whole ninja vibe really works for me. So, of course, accessory-wise, just the exact same one that came with RC, but more like a shuriken or shield, which actually looks super cool in my opinion. Brand new head sculpt, which actually looks super cool. Tons of light piping, and of course, if you get it under a light, it glows super cool. I've done it, and it looks really good. And of course, it does come with the disc/wheel accessory, which isn't my favorite. How it's stored now definitely looks the best to me. You can store it as just the wheel back there connected to the front of the motorcycle, or you can use it as sort of a blade drone accessory, which I'm not really sure what it is supposed to be. You can actually have the figure hold it in their hand, but it doesn't look good to me. Yes, this figure is not perfect. Of course, there is some kibble on the legs with the wheels, the back wheel of the motorcycle. No, that doesn't look the greatest, but I can easily overlook it because it is just a repaint, and it is just a deluxe size figure. None of them are, ever truly, I would say, perfect figures. There's some nitpicks you can find, and it's not really that big of a deal to me. Overall, I think it looks really good in the robot mode. Of course, articulation, pretty standard. Unfortunately, there is no waist swivel, but that's really due to transformation because it actually tabs in. If you wanted to, you could actually untab it from the torso section or the chest section and get it in some crazy poses, but do be aware it could get kind of flappy and pieces could fall off. So I typically will just leave it connected. And of course, getting to transformation, that is one of the problems I have with the figure. It can be kind of messy and fiddly sometimes. I wish it was a little bit more clean and easy to do, but I guess memorization-wise, you can easily do it. It's just, I wouldn't say the most fun or enjoyable thing to do, like I would say Skids or Burnout or Clampdown are. Getting down to the motorcycle mode, I think they did a really good job with this motorcycle mode, and same for the RC. I really didn't have any problem with them. Yes, just like RC, it wasn't the best figure, but I think the motorcycle mode was just perfect. Same for this one, I think it just really worked. There's not many motorcycle figures, Decepticon or Autobots, that actually work and look good. And of course, there has to be some sacrifices. I mean, it's a motorcycle, it's 2 wheels, it's a really odd shape, so there will be some sacrifices in the remote mode, like the wheels on the legs, and of course, even in the alt mode, when there is some kibble, you can see like the hands and the leg joints inside the motorcycle. So there will be some sacrifices, and honestly, I think it actually looks super cool. Motorcycles are hard, so I can easily pass up on a few problems like kibble and stuff. So let me know what you think of this figure in the comment section down below. Of course, by now, I think by the time you're watching this video, most of the Legacy Velocitron figures should be on my channel right now. Of course, I still do need to get Road Hauler, Override, and Scourge, so hopefully I can get those soon. Right now, they say September 1st, so hopefully they might speed up a little bit, or of course, they'll be around that time. So not too long of a wait, and I think I will be reviewing the Metroplex Titan class figures soon. I actually did have that for a while. I really wanted to review these 5 figures first, then get the Titan in, because that's going to take up a lot of time, so I really wanted to do these first. These quicker, easier, simple reviews first to get out of the way, of course. So make sure to stay tuned for that Titan class review. Unfortunately, it will not be in this typical light booth. There won't be as good as lighting because, of course, this booth is not nearly big enough for that figure, so it will be filmed a little bit somewhere else, but I'll try and make it look as good as possible, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And that's pretty much it for this review. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you